There we go. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Nice to see you today here in snowy northern Illinois. And I'm Rita Hickman, if you don't know who I am, and I'm a body-mind expert, shiatsu massage therapist, Asian medicine. Hi, Kathy. Asian medicine, energy worker, and intuitive master healer. All sorts of great stuff. So actually, that's a great intro for what we're talking about today, which are labels, which are the things that we tell ourselves. Hi, Carolyn. Good to see you. So I'm going to start out with this morning. So this morning I was trying to figure out, what do I want to talk about this morning? You know, what's on my mind, what's coming up, and I like to tune in to how I feel, because it gives me a good idea on how other people feel. It reminds me of a spiritual leader that I knew who would lead sacred fires, and his job at the beginning of every sacred fire was to pull everyone together and to find a common theme and a common, hi Cheryl, and what was really going on in everybody's psyches. So, you know, you'd ask him a couple hours before and you'd say, what are you going to talk about? And he would say, I don't know, I have to see how everybody's feeling. I have to tap into, you know, what's going on in the psyche with everybody, and I will intuitively be able to talk on it. And this is what I do every morning. You know, I check in with myself and I say, what am I going through? What's on my mind? And it's usually a really great reflection of what's going on in everybody else's mind. So I ran across this video today, and it was about this very successful gentleman who, you know, grew up on a farm and had a hard life, and, you know, spent most of his time into his mid-30s trying to please his dad, because, you know, his dad had never been proud of him, he was never good enough, all of these things. And it took, you know, an adult, when he was an adult, a mentor to tell him, you know what, you get to decide to be or to think or to describe yourself any way that you want to. And he really took that to heart. And so he, you know, chose somebody that he idolized, which was Clint Eastwood. And he said, Clint Eastwood, hi, Andrea, is ruggedly handsome. And so his mentor told him to tell himself that he was ruggedly handsome 1,000 times a day, because we really do have the ability to rewire our brain, to rewire how we view ourselves and how we see the world. And the words that we say are the words we tell ourselves about life. Now, the challenge is, for most women, most of us who've been on this path for a while, we know all about positive thinking and positive affirmation. And in fact, we tend to get caught in it, and we get freaked out with the law of attraction and whatnot. Oh no, I said something negative. You know, I called myself a negative thing. I had negative thinking. I need to get rid of that. Hi, Martin. Good to see you. I need to change it for good. And so there's actually a step before just telling yourself what you want to think. Hi, Sherry. Great to see you. And the step is giving yourself permission that you get to change how you perceive yourself. You get to change who you want to be. You know, a big challenge is that we get stuck and we get mad at ourselves for all of the, you know, I'm not smart, I'm lazy, my house should be clean, why aren't the dishes done, I'm not a good mom, I'm not a good spouse, I'm, you know, not good at my job, I'll never figure it out. And we beat ourselves up even more, and we get angry, and it brings us even further down, because we're missing one very important step, which is permission to, hey, that's awesome, Carolyn. You tell yourself you're getting younger every day and you feel it, because that's how it works. That's how we rewire ourselves. It's not just telling ourselves something new to think. It's actually owning it and believing it and looking for ways that it's true. Looking for opportunities to validate what we want to believe. Now, we can go back into our past, and we can look back at our past at times when we were beautiful and we were smart and we were funny, and hold on to those times. You know, surround ourselves with memories of the fact that we are strong and smart and creative and interesting, and that you are getting younger every day. You know, that's one way to keep remembering that this is true. You're not trying to be something that you haven't been. You're not trying to, you know, well, I'm not creative. Oh, well, I'm creative, but you don't really believe it. You have to look for examples to validate why you believe what you believe. Now I'm going to tell you one of my fun little creepy ways that this comes out in my life, okay? I'm a massage therapist, which means that I get to see a lot of women's bodies. I don't get to see them naked. I get to see them clothed because it's shiatsu. But I get to get in a lot of women's space. And my hands get to be on bodies that maybe haven't been touched in a long time. And I get to work on parts of women's bodies that, people haven't touched except in a medical, way or impersonal or uncaring in for forever. And maybe never they've been touched in that way, with nurturing and love and care. And that's one of the reasons I'm good at what I do, is because when I work with people, I can look at them and I look at how beautiful they are. And I look at how nicely they're shaped, no matter what shape they are, how lovely their eyes are. I don't just pick one feature. I look at them through a lens of beauty. And what that's done for me is it means that I look at myself through a lens of beauty. When I'm able to see the world outside of myself as amazing and a miracle and perfect in every way, I start to see myself in that way too, through that same lens. So it doesn't always have to start with, I am beautiful, I'm amazing. In fact, for women, that's really hard. It's hard to start with ourselves. It's hard to think of those times that we've been that way, But when we start to look at the rest of the world and see them as miracles, every shape, size, color, height, everything, when we see the beauty in everything that's out there, then we have the ability to see the beauty in ourselves. So this builds on each other, because when you see the beauty outside and you see the beauty in yourself, they synergize, they come together and they build one upon the other until you've got this lens and this attitude where you go out in the world. Hi, Sharon. You go out in the world and no matter what happens, you're not delusional. You're not kidding yourself. But what you say is you look beyond the behavior or you look beyond the surface and you see the beauty that's there. And that's how we create more beauty in our lives. That's how we create more beauty outside of ourselves. That's how we create beauty in the people that are around us, because they rise to that image that we have of them. It's less about, I'm not going to put up with this, and this isn't fair, and why do I do this? And it's more about, how can I see the beauty in this person? Because it will let me see the beauty in me. And what's really fun is because then, as I said, it builds upon one another. I look at myself and I love how I look, no matter how I look, no matter what shape or size or if I've gained weight or lost weight. I look at myself and say, wow, isn't it a beautiful shape or curve? Or doesn't that skin feel good? And then when I'm with other people, I see the same thing in them. And I think, wow, they're beautiful and their hair is lovely and their nose is just right. And look at those lips and look at who they are and how beautiful they are in every way. And then they reflect that back to me. They see me as beautiful because I see them as beautiful. And it goes back and forth. You take the love that you have and that you want to have and you give it away. You give it to every situation that you can see. And I said, it's not about kidding yourself. It's not about ignoring what you see and saying, well, that's, I'm just supposed to ignore that they treated me badly. I'm supposed to ignore that they weren't fair to me. No, you see that. You see that realistically, and you look past it. You look at the beauty. I'm not religious. I was raised Catholic, and I tended to run the opposite direction, as fast as I could. But there's one of the things that comes up, and it's don't see the sin. It's about seeing past the sin to the person. Don't see the sin, see the sinner, or, whatever it is. Clearly I didn't study very well. But that really stuck with me. Don't focus on, hi, Stephanie. You can see what's going on. You can see that someone is messed up or in pain or struggling or, would be healthier if they lost some weight. They'd feel happier and they'd feel better about themselves if they did. But you also see where they're at and what they're doing as a miracle, They can breathe, they can walk, they can move, they can think. They were born in the first place. Hi, Atma, good to see you. Their body keeps growing and evolving, and every curve and every, movement is beautiful. So I've started in my weird little creepy but not invasive sort of way, looking at the people around me and enjoying seeing them with every scowl on their face or every smile or every stressed out energy that they have. I see them as beautiful. And when I see them as beautiful, they start to see me as beautiful. And they start to see other people as beautiful. And they start to see the world as beautiful. And stuff starts to spiral up. There's an adage in education. If you look at kids and you see the magnificence in them, really see it, and you help them believe it and bring it out in them, then that's who they become. We all have this magnificence in us. We all are beautiful because we're freaking alive. Wow, it's mind-blowing. One of my favorite shows in Vegas is it's a Cirque du Soleil where everybody's mostly naked. And I love that because I get to watch their bodies and how beautiful they are and how well they moved and really appreciate that. And when you start to take that idea into the world, we project our thoughts and feelings and others respond to them. They respond to our self-image and their self-image. So at the beginning, they might not believe us. They might think that we're lying to them, that we're trying to get something from them, that we're manipulating them in some way because we see them in a positive light. We see them in beauty and we share that with them. However, here's the fun thing about the placebo effect, is even when you know it's a lie, or even when you believe that someone, is trying to manipulate you or control you in some way by telling you something nice, it still works. It still makes a positive impact. So when you start to look at the world through that lens of beauty, hi Vicky, through that lens of beauty and miracles and love and angels and fun and happiness, when you start to look at the world through that view screen, then the people around you start to adapt to that worldview too. We are more impacted by our environment than by anything else. So if you want to change the world, one of the things that you need to do is to look past the sin and see the person underneath and see in any way that you can that how lovely the shape of their teeth are, or how fascinating that their cells work or their blood is pumping. Isn't it a miracle? And sometimes that means that you have to listen to what they're saying but not react to it. Focus on something different. But when you focus on the beauty, when you're not, oh, wow, yes, when you thought of him in a different way, that's great. Carolyn says she avoided being mugged by thinking of the guy who was going to rob me as her brother and that he was in such shock he couldn't do it. That's what I mean. I'm not saying it'll work every time. I'm not saying that, by changing your attitude towards somebody, that they'll change their attitude towards you. Sometimes people have a lot of issues, or it'll take longer than you want to invest in it. But what I'm saying is when you start to do that, you get more and more people around you who feel kinship, who feel caring and love. And when you look at yourself and all of your quirks and all of your flaws and say, wow, isn't that beautiful? And you draw somebody's attention to that. And you say, look at this knee. Isn't this beautiful? And they look at you like you're crazy, like there's something wrong with you. But they start to look at you and at themselves in that way too. It's our job to help people change the perception and the perspective of how they look at the world. We're so shaped by marketing and media telling us, you need to be in fear, this is wrong, or you need to worry about this, or you need to fix this, this is bad. We are bombarded by that because it's great economics to keep people wanting and feeling insecure and feeling less than in some way is a wonderful way to get people continuing to spend money. The people who spend the most money on self-help books are people who've already spent money on self-help books. It's a pattern, it's a habit, and it keeps us in that place of always wanting to, not be good enough. So what I would suggest to you is if you have a hard time giving yourself permission to see yourself as beautiful, Give yourself instead permission to see people as beautiful around you. And here's a neat side effect. When you can see the most painful, the most aggravating, the things that make you angriest through a beautiful lens, then you now have the ability to love yourself, because you are human and they are human. When you can love another human in all of their magnificence and ugliness and all of their pain and suffering and meanness, when you can look past that, and see the fact that they're breathing is a miracle, then when you're feeling that way, when you're doing those things, or somebody points at you and says, "You did this to me," you'll be able to course correct really quick. You won't let those labels stick to you, because and that happened to me recently. Sometimes because I'm pretty bold in what I say, that I can trigger people around me, because I'll say what I'm thinking and feeling, and that's not always, politically correct, let's say. And then people will come to me and they say, "You think this," or "You did that," or you made me feel this way." Because I look at everybody as a miracle, I gracefully move through those things. When I'm attacked, when someone comes after me, I'm able to gracefully say, "I am a miracle too. Isn't this amazing how this happens?" Yes, we do not, Carolyn says, we do not allow them to take us down, but instead lift them up by keeping our vibration high. That's exactly it. And how do we keep our vibration high? We choose to look at the world through a different set of lenses, no matter what we're feeling or thinking. Hi, Deb. Great to see you. It's been a long time. So we change how we see the world, and the world changes to fit that viewpoint. Not in everything and not everywhere, but it makes a big difference in our immediate world and in our spouses and our kids and our coworkers. When we can sincerely see them as beautiful and love them despite all of their faults, then they start to become more lovable, because that's just how it works. That's how you rewire them, and that's how you rewire you. It's how I rewire my family and my marriage and my friends and the people who are closest to me, is I see them through that lens of sincere, honest, unconditional love. And not the fluffy bunny kind of love that's like, "Oh, I love you. No matter what you do, you can hit me in the face and it's okay." No, it's saying, "Hey, you hit me in the face. This isn't great. I still love you, and I get it, and I understand where you're coming from, and I know that you're struggling, and it's all right." And so then when you're struggling and when you're having a hard time and not being the person that you want to be, you're very easily able to apply that to yourself, because that's where your thoughts normally are. Whatever you think about the most is what strengthens the neural connection. So if you look at the world and say you're beautiful, then when you need it, when you need to feel beautiful, that thought will be right there. So it's like being proactive. Seeing the world in a beautiful way will help you through your most difficult times, because it'll be easier for you to see yourself in a beautiful way, to look past your sins and your issues and your problems and see yourself as magnificent, the same magnificent that you see everybody else in. Okay? So your homework assignment for today is to find something that irritates you. And when it irritates you, I want you to focus on something different about the situation. It means that sometimes you can't listen to what they're saying because it'll trigger, all right? It means sometimes you have to think in your head, "La, la, 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 aren't you beautiful? Aren't you nice?" Sometimes you have to be just a little bit delusional and focus not on what they're saying or their energy or their anger or their irritation, but instead focus on the fact that they're a miracle, okay? That's your assignment for today. Find one small thing that bugs you and look past the crap to the miracle that's inside. Do that every day as often as possible, and your life will really spiral up. Guaranteed. Okay? So, I will see you Monday, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.